It's a shame no one is going to watch this movie. I watched Elio the other day, and I actually liked it. It was pretty good. Despite what everyone was saying, this movie is actually pretty good. It's not really that bad, honestly. There are some things I'm going to go into detail about, but we'll get there. First things first, I apologize in advance if you hear knocking. There's construction being done at my apartment complex, so I will try not to record if they're banging really close to me, but if you hear it, I'm sorry. But yes, Elio, made by Disney's Pixar, directed by 3 people. There's Adrian Molina, there's Madeline Sharifine, and Domi Shi. As usual, I am probably butchering all of them, I'm sorry. But they've worked on other Disney Pixar projects in the past, so, they have experience. When I first saw this movie announced, it didn't really get my attention. I was happy for Pixar making something original because there's this ongoing discussion about original movies from Pixar and pretty much any animated studio out there, and I'll talk about that soon. But Elio didn't really catch my eye. It kind of seemed a bit basic when it came to its premise, where a child goes up into space, meets some aliens, and decides he needs to get back home. I feel like I feel like there's probably 10 animated movies that has that same exact premise, and I just know people, before they even go see this movie, they pretty much judged it beforehand. They thought the animation was they compared it to the Grubhub animation commercial. As funny as that is, it is kind of true. I really wish Pixar would somewhat step back away from this style of animation. I understand why they're doing that. I really wish they would just have more realistic looking characters. Not to say that I don't want them to look like actual humans, but just, stop with the pudginess. I really don't know how to describe it. If you look at the characters and designs, it probably looks like other Pixar movies. And I really wish we could go back to having, distinct looks for each characters, but that's just a small nitpick. Overall, like I said, I really do like the film. I want to talk about how this film was edited to begin with, because the way it was edited was actually really good. There's moments where they reference real life things because this movie is all about space, so they mentioned the golden record, which if you don't know is like this piece of recording or like this device that was sent out to space to try to find other life forms out there. Yeah, I will say the way this movie starts off, the first 5 to 10 or so minutes, definitely really good. It's really amazing. I really just like what they did. There was just so many good camera shots that they did. It was just so creative. I really liked the first 10 minutes of the film. If Disney were to upload the first 10 minutes of this film to YouTube or something, I promise you everyone will want to go watch it, or at least give it a shot. I don't know for sure, but they had a really good opening. And the style of editing also happens again towards the end of the film as well, and I just really enjoyed it. The story is about a kid named Elio that lives with his aunt, and he has this whole fixation with aliens because he wants to go out into space and see what's out there because he doesn't feel like he belongs here on Earth. And eventually one day, that wish is granted and he gets abducted. He meets with a bunch of other aliens from a location called the Communiverse, which is just begging to be a Kingdom Hearts location. And in this location, there's a bunch of advanced technology, there's a lot of gadgets, a lot of, sci-fi inventions, and Elio has a really good time, but then eventually Elio finds his way into this conflict between the Communiverse and this other villain named Lord Grygon. And there's also this plot that involves this antagonist's son who Elio befriends. I don't want to say too much after that. It's a really decent premise. It's not like the most unique premise ever. Like I said earlier, I definitely feel like this type of story was probably made in 10 other movies, but it's something. The characters are pretty interesting. Elio is pretty much the only character. I mean, yeah, there's Lord Grygon, who's funny at times. There's this joke where he's shooting targets with Elio because they're trying to make a deal, and then he thinks he's this impressive shot, but he's just accidentally doing stuff. Lord Grygon also just becomes a really decent character towards the end of the film, though I really wish there was more of him in this film to make him more of a threat. But other than him, there's Elio's aunt, who's in the military. That's how he somewhat gains an interest in space and aliens and all that, because he's around that stuff with his aunt. There's also Lord Grygon's son Glorden, who Elio befriends, and he's just a child, basically. There's not really much to latch on, but he's an adorable little creature, so a lot of the kids are gonna like him. There's other characters that help out. There's this guy named Melmac, which I'm convinced his name is referenced to Alf, which I recently watched, And speaking of references real quick, there was a lot of alien references in this film, and I think that was really cool, honestly. But yeah, there's just other characters who just help with the plot and help it get moved forward. I'm mainly talking about this character named Bryce, who Elio befriends at first. He kind of becomes irritated with Elio for this moment, which I'm not going to say too much about, but then he eventually helps him out in the end. He becomes a really good friend to Elio, and he's very relatable to him. Voice acting, you know, did a decent job, I will say. I don't really know if anyone stood out, and this had Brad Garrett playing Grygon, as well as Zoe Saldana playing Elio's aunt. I mentioned it earlier, but other than the Communiverse location, there really wasn't any other places that was worth mentioning. I mean, there is the spaceship of Grygon, but we're not really there that long, and there's also the place where Elio lives. It's just a generic city. I actually forgot what it was. I'm sure I'll look it up. But related to that, I will say the animation definitely was really good. I know I said the art style could definitely need some changing up now, but the animation was just really good. And I mentioned it before, the last 10 minutes of the film, they went all out with the animation. I don't know what the hell they were cooking, but they were cooking something good. Like, this movie is just gorgeous at the end. And I really wish there was a lot more moments where it could show off, like, how good it is. Because Pixar does that sometimes, where they like showing off what they can do. Animation, even though it's in small bites, it was still really good. And I'm glad that they have some competition, because I want to see Pixar go all out. The music is definitely something worth talking about. There was a lot of moments where the music definitely helped the tone of the film. It didn't feel really too cliche. It didn't really feel too forced, like, oh, you're supposed to feel this right now. It definitely felt just soft, and honestly, I think it was pretty okay. It didn't make me feel like, oh, I had to feel sad. And yeah, there's sad moments in this film, and the music just helps out, and I think it's pretty okay. There was some laughs that I got. There was also some chuckles that I got from all the references, and, you know, I think a lot of kids will like it. There wasn't any, like, trash humor or, like, elementary level humor. So, yeah, it's something that I think adults could watch and not really get too bored with as well. I'm pretty sure they'll even find a laugh here and there. I even know that because when I went, there was kids in the audience, and they all were entertained, and they all, like, didn't seem bored like they were with other certain Disney movies. Speaking of which, let's talk about the whole meaning of this film. Now, it's not really the most original. In fact, it's very similar to Onward. I don't want to say too much, but Elio as a film doesn't really stand out too much. And I feel like I've been saying that a lot. It doesn't just do anything special. It just does what it does, and it doesn't do anything to, like, break the mold. And that's perfectly fine. You know, there are some moments in this film that definitely stood out to, like, make it, you know, worth watching, so it's not a complete waste of time, but its meanings and messages it was trying to say was really good. I feel like it was displayed really well. I feel like kids are going to catch on, and I feel like kids are going to, you know, like, watch this, and they're going to, like, learn a thing or two and, like, appreciate what they have without saying too much. Overall, I think that's the most important thing when it comes to these kids movies, that are they good enough to where, like, a child can watch it and they can learn something? Can they go home and actually apply this? Now, I can't believe I'm bringing this up. I don't understand how Pixar is able to do a better movie about family and staying together and appreciating what you have and loving each other and all that than fucking Disney can. It's a stretch to say that the meanings are somewhat the same, but hear me out. Elio had a better message about family than the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch. How is that even possible? And it was a remake of a film. Like, what the fuck? Recently, the director of Lilo and Stitch has got some heavy criticism and gone under heavy fire from his stance on how he ended the film with the live action remake, and how Nani just left Lilo and, like, forgot the whole meaning of Ohana. I still to this day think that's one of the stupidest things you could ever do in a live action remake of Lilo and Stitch, and I'm glad he's getting backlash, because what the fuck? And on top of that, Pixar went ahead and did a better job of telling a story about family and, like, loving them and appreciating them for who they are. It's just, what the fuck, Disney? It's kind of funny because, like, it's not like it's the most important thing in the world, but, like, it just goes to show how much Disney has fallen off. But about Elio, yeah, it's definitely a good film. I recommend everyone watch it. I don't want to say anything about the plot. That's probably all I could really say. I doubt my opinion and my review is going to sway the audience and get people to go out there and watch. But if you have some free time, I genuinely think you should go watch this. I think you might like it. I am saying this because when it comes to Pixar, they're in a bit of a battle with their audience where they don't know whether to make original films or just keep making sequels for already existing IPs. I like to live in a world where we have a somewhat healthy balance of the two. I don't mind stories continuing as long as there's a meaning for it and like there's a reason for it to continue. Do we need Toy Story 5? Probably not, but I still want to see what Pixar is cooking up because they've never made a bad Toy Story movie. But also, people not watching this film is what's gonna get us to Toy Story 7. And like, they're already making Incredibles 3, Frozen 3, and of course, Toy Story 5. Who's to say WALL-E 2 isn't gonna come out soon? Now, obviously, people can do whatever they want. It's your money, you know, you don't have to go see these movies or whatever. But I recommend giving it a chance if you can, or at least support it when it comes to Disney+. And hopefully Pixar can see this as to not completely abandon original movies. I don't think they will, because I feel like that's just too tiring to just work on the same 5 IPs for multiple years. I will say, now that I've said that, Pixar definitely does need to do a better job when it comes to their marketing. And this kind of ties into what I said about their animation style or their art style with their films. I feel like a lot of people saw this film, like I did, and just threw it off. I don't know the right words, but like they just didn't give a shit when they saw it. I feel like Pixar needs to do a better job of making these movies look beautiful, making them look like, oh, it's worth going watching, and they need to make it to where it doesn't seem like it's just another run-of-the-mill film. Actually make something unique. I'm sure the people who made Elio and the last few like original Pixar movies are very passionate about the stories they wanted to tell, and if they are, then forget what I said. At the very least, Pixar does need to do a better job with marketing their films and making it seem appealing. If Pixar can do that, then I'm sure people will always go watch the original films. Companies like A24 keep making original films because they have interesting premises and people go and watch them. So yeah, Pixar, please just make your movie look interesting. And for all the people who are wanting original films, go fucking watch them and stop complaining online. But of course, it's just online. I'm sure there's plenty of people who actually do support original films when they can, and I'm glad I did. And for that, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to give Elio an 8 out of 10, just because I liked it. It met all the requirements for being a good movie. Now, there are some issues. The villain is not really the most interesting, the story is not the most unique, and the art style could definitely be changed up a bit. It's just a small handful of issues, but other than that, it had some great animation, some good music, and a really good message it wanted to tell, and I really think people are going to like it, especially the kids. But yep, that's about it. That's Elio from Pixar. As far as movies I'm going to be seeing next, if you're interested, I'm trying to go see 28 Years Later, the zombie movie, as well as F1, and I know there's Fantastic Four that's coming out soon, so those are my next few films that I'm going to be watching. I kind of also want to watch The Materialist, or Materialists, and I know Megan 2.0 is coming out, which who knows what's I even, well, I don't even know, man. I feel like Blumhouse is gonna fuck that up. I don't know. But yeah, that's my review on Elio. What do you guys think? Let me know. Talk about it down below. And if you guys want to go watch me on Twitch to play video games, feel free. I'll have a link to that and my other socials down below. You guys have a great rest of your day.